What up, Goblin Cocks, and welcome to episode 21 of the Nothing to Play podcast, a mediocre podcast about video games, movies, and old reruns of Two and a Half Men. As always, it's your boy, Just in Time Carter, and this week, for episode 21, I have returning guest and friend of the podcast. You love him. He's the coolest guy I've never hung out with, Zach Anderson.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, sir. Back for round 2 of the Nothing to Play podcast.
Dude, funny enough, I was looking at Anchor before I got on, and the last episode you were on, episode 14, has the most listens. So, it's only 13, but
I like it.
That's a big number for
the podcast. Let's get it to 14. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Come on.
We're gonna do it. How have you been?
I've been okay. It's been one of those weeks where, nothing goes right, but nothing really goes wrong. There's just no really high moments in the week. It's just
coasting through.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, I kind of just want something to happen. I mean, it can be good or it can be bad at this point, but it's just like, I think it's Thursday. I don't know. Shit.
The last couple of days, I actually got off work on time, and I was like, man, this feels weird after working so many 8 to 8 shifts and stuff. Right. I'm like, getting off at 5, I'm like, I can actually eat dinner and like enjoy myself.
I get to see my loved ones. Like, what is this? I don't understand.
Yeah. I'm like, it's not just working to 8 and then throwing the dogs out and going to bed.
Yeah. Like, that seems to be life. But it's we're all making do. It's been a fun 7 weeks now of no school, no preschool, everyone working from home. I don't have a big house, so it's not like there's like an office I go to. You can probably see now I'm in my palatial child's extra bedroom / playroom. It's been great. It's been a learning experience.
When you said 7 weeks, I like stomach. I can't believe it feels like it's been 14 weeks. And it's only been like 2 months.
It hasn't even been 2 months, and it's hilarious because I think for most people, they hit the point sometime this week. Like everyone I've talked to, it's a line mentally existed this week for some reason for most people, and everyone now is like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. If I die, I die. Who cares? Open up Starbucks. And it's like, wait, what are you, like, nothing's better. Like, what are you guys talking about? And everyone's like, yeah, but fuck it. Like, this sucks. It's like, Jesus Christ, you guys. Like, I don't know what happened. It was like, definitely a line happened this week that, like, broke people for some reason. And it's like, yeah, I can die. Who cares? Like, and it's just like, no, I'm not okay with that, but sure, whatever.
Like, as long as I can get that venti iced chai latte, non-fat milk, light ice, I don't care.
And my highlights, because my hair, guys, damn. Like, it's, I don't understand. But, to each their own, and, hope there's a ventilator for you when you die. But, yeah.
I was like, the novelty of working from home has like officially worn off on me about a couple weeks ago, and I'm at the point now where I'm just like, man, the one nice thing about actually going into the office is it's like I couldn't work until 8 because I'm like, I need to get home and dogs and whatever. So it's like that overtime wasn't as easily accessible to do and enforce upon.
Well, see, now I'm wondering if employers are going to be like, why don't you work from home? Because so many people have been actually way more productive from working from home. And it's like, I don't need this big old office that I'm paying rent on if I can just have all you guys working from your houses. So,
well, that's what's crazy is because like people on our like work meetings and stuff, they're like, hey, is there any word on when we're coming back to the office? And my manager was straight up like, so she's like, there's no like official word when. She's like, but they're going to the like people who own the building want to do a deep clean on the entire building before anybody even comes back. and that's gonna be, since it's like 2 floors and it's like a suite shared with other like
Oh,
banks
geez,
and
yeah.
businesses and stuff. They're like, yeah, it's gonna be like a multi-month process, and they're like, so we're thinking maybe July, but that's not a set date yet. So we're like, cool. Like they're like, yeah, we're just kind of playing it by ear at this point. So I'm like, yeah, I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't even come back until next year, like at that
Yeah,
rate.
yeah, totally. Because nothing ever goes as scheduled anyway. You know, there's always delays. There's always something. So,
Right.
good times. Good times.
Dude, but
But,
since this is episode 21, as a
yes.
special thing, I wanted to know, what did you do for your 21st birthday?
Oh, my 21st birthday. Well, let's see. That was 2 decades ago, Justin. That was a long time ago. My 21st birthday consisted of me. So where I grew up was a town in California called Sunnyvale, and in this town, I call it a town. It's where Atari was born. Capcom was headquartered there. Now it is, it's a lot bigger. But when I was a child, there were still orchards there and stuff. It was very different. But there was a in the little downtown strip there called Murphy Street. There is a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant called Tao Tao, and I had been going there literally since before I was born. Like in utero, I was going to Tao Tao, and the staff there never changed. The bartender was a man named Kingman, and was Kingman and Singh. Those were the two bartenders. And so my dad took me down there for my 21st birthday to have dinner at the bar, and we have a seat. And like I said, I've literally known these people my entire life. And say hi to Kingman, say hi to Singh, and Kingman's like, "Oh, you're sitting at the bar," and I'm like, "Yep, it's my 21st birthday." And my dad says like, "Yeah, it is. We're here to grab some beers and some food." And Kingman turns around and is like, "So what do you like? Your whiskey, vodka, blah blah." And like, I'd been drinking a little at that point. Not, I'd gone to college and done some things, and I was like, "Oh, I like Jack Daniels," because I had horrible taste then. And and Kingman's like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And he turns around and grabs like a highball glass and proceeds to fill like 70% of that glass with Jack Daniels and sets it down in front of me and goes, "You have to drink it in one shot or you have to pay for it." He's like, I'm buying it for you only if you finish it in one go." And I was like, "Well, all right, we're doing this." And I proceeded to slam it down at the bar. And then we moved on to Mai Tais at that point. And the thing with Tao Tao and their Mai Tais, the rule goes 1 to start your night and 2 to finish it. They are extremely strong. Like it is, I've known people that have had more than 2 and they had very rough nights.
Can you taste the alcohol in them though?
In the first couple sips, oh yeah. You take that first 2 sips and you were like, whoo, Jesus. Like I feel like I could blow fire right now if someone put a lighter in front of my mouth. But they're really smooth, actually. And by the time you are like a quarter of the way into the glass, you can just drink them. Like they just go down. And they're extremely dangerous, like incredibly dangerous. So we have dinner, and I'm good and liquored up by this point. And we proceed to go to the dive bar, which is called Paul and Harvey's across the way. And this place had been there since like the 50s. And I proceeded to get drink Wild Turkey 101 and and yellow can Coors, because why not? So then we go home. Now, my mom had planned an entire like dinner and birthday cake and all this stuff for my birthday. My dad either didn't care or forgot that was happening. So we walk home and there's like food everywhere, and my mom is pissed to the core because I am shithouse drunk. Like, I am just like sloppy drunk. And so she's all pissed off. Her and my dad are arguing. I'm just trying. I'm like, fuck, hey, there's food. Sweet. And I'm just sitting there on the side, like eating the dinner she made. Like, just like, hey, more food, guys. This food's really good. Why is no one eating the food? It's great, you know? Um, and then, while they're arguing, I pick up the phone, and this is like, no cell phones. There's no cell phones. I pick up the house phone. And
phone.
Yeah, and call my friend Carlos to come pick me up and take me to this beer garden called the Oasis, so we could go keep drinking. So he's like, "Yeah, cool, I'll be over in a little bit." And apparently, I sounded pretty much sober at this point. Like, Carlos couldn't tell I was like way gone. He's like, "You sounded like you had a few, but I knew you went to Tao Tao, so you know." Now, in the middle of all this, my grandmother calls me to say happy birthday. And apparently, I don't really remember this, but this story is backed up by my mom, my dad, and Carlos, who had shown up in the middle of all this chaos. That I took the phone to talk to my grandmother and was like 1,000% put together sober. Like, I picked up the phone and was like, "Hey, Grandma, how you doing? Yeah, thanks. Happy birthday. Like, yeah, I really appreciate it. Good that you called, blah, blah, blah." And then I was like, "Yeah, I love you too." Hung up the phone and was just like, "Boom, motherfuckers, let's go." The second I hung up the phone, it just like came pouring out of me. It was just like super loud noises and chaos. And, long story short, though, my mom was staunchly against Carlos taking me out, and they were able to kind of distract me enough that I sat on a couch until I fell asleep, and they left me there. And that was the end of my 21st birthday. But it was a fun night.
I was like, you didn't puke?
No, man. I had it put together by that point. The wild turkey didn't help, though.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when you said Jack Daniels, and then you said poor choices, and then you listed wild turkey, and I was like, that even made me shiver. I'm like, ugh.
I didn't go on to make better choices that evening. That was just the level of the choices I was making right then. Like, that's at that point in my life, those were my choices. So I'm not proud of them when I look back now. But what about you? What was your 21st?
Oh man, all right. So I have two different 21st stories. I have the one that I actually had with my friends, and then the one with my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, for my actual 21st, like on the day I turned 21, in Arizona, there's Tempe, and that's kind of like the near ASU and stuff. So it's kind of like the college town, like
that's the college party town.
Yeah, lined with bars like down the streets. Mm-hmm. Mill Avenue is what it's called. And we went with my like roommates and some friends from school and stuff like that. We went, and like, since it was my actual like birthday, we like went like down Mill Avenue and stuff, and went bar hopping. And it was such a pain in the ass though, because I still had, I don't know about California driver's licenses, but for Arizona, if you're under 21, you have the vertical driver's license.
That's how it is now in California. It wasn't when I was a kid, but yeah, that is how it is now.
Yeah, it's vertical, and then when you're 21, and it says like under 21 until, and then has the date, and then when you're 21, you have the horizontal one. Well, because, obviously I just turned 21, I still had my vertical one. So it's like every bar, they're like studying this thing like it's like a fucking almanac. And
totally.
I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, they're like looking at the date and stuff, and like looking at me, and they're like, I'm like, today is my birthday. I'm like, I just turned 21. Like, look at the date, look at the date of birth.
This is why I'm here. Yeah.
Yes, I'm 21. And this one dude outside a door had the fucking audacity. He's like sitting there with my license. He has one of the blue fucking flashlights, so it's like you can tell it's a legit license. And he's looking at it. And to be fair, my license picture was from my permit, so I'm 15 in that picture, and I have long like Columbine fucking hair. And it's like he's like looking at it and like looking at me, and looking at it, looking at me, and then ask me if I have like another form of identity. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, you want my fucking library card, dude? I'm like, I'm 21. Like, are you gonna let me in, or am I gonna go down the street to another bar? And he's like, all right, man, whatever. I'm like, it's legit. Like, I don't know why you think I'm trying to fucking hose you here. Like,
well, because like everyone tries to hose him like all day, you know.
yeah,
So it's like, you know, I get it, but still, it's like, come on.
yeah. But I'm like, when I'm with like 10 other people who are also 21 and it's a legit license, I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to pull a fast one on you here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but so yeah, we went bar hopping, and I ran into my cousin at one of the first bars we went to because he was going to ASU at the time, and he bought me a shot. And I guess he knew the bartender. He's like, "Hey," he's like, "Get my cousin this like whatever." And I was like, "All right." And he gives me a shot, and I take it. That motherfucker got me habanero Smirnoff vodka,
Oh,
and it burned, and it was
yeah.
disgusting.
That sounds just so gross. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
and gave me water as a chaser, which chases nothing.
No, spreads it around is all it does.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I was like, that sucked. And so, and then we did some other shots and stuff, and then we went to the next bar, which was called Fat Tuesday, and their big thing that they're known for is they have alcoholic slushies.
Oh, okay.
So I got an alcoholic slushie, and they also have atomic cherries, which are like maraschino cherries that are soaked in Everclear. And so I got an alcoholic slushie, and then I ate like 2 or 3 cherries. And
Good night. Good night. Yeah.
yeah. And this is only the second bar. And then what happened? And then like I ended up like dance battling like some dude at the bar and stuff. So I was
sounds about right.
Yeah, I was already at that point. And then my group started to like branch off. Like some people went to this other bar, and then we ended up going to this one. So some dude like lured us into this one bar, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, like come on in, like whatever. Oh, you're 21, bro. Yeah, come on in." Like the So we go in there and we're hanging out, and I'm like, "Dude, I really need to use the bathroom." And so the bathroom was upstairs. So me and my friend Brent go upstairs, and while we're in the bathroom, that dude who was outside that lured us in was in there, and he's like, "Whoa, dude, like what's up?" And he's like, "Here, man," and hands me like $12 in ones, and hands my friend like $5 or $6 in ones, and he's like, they had like go-go dancers or something like downstairs going on. He's like, "Yeah, man, dude." He's like, "Here, take some money, go downstairs and tip the go-go dancers or whatever." And I am plastered at the like I'm like wobbling, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking?" And he like left, and I'm like standing there with all these ones. And like we come back downstairs, and they're like, "What are you doing with all this money?" I'm like, "Dude, some dude gave me this money and said to like give it to the go-go dancers or something." I'm like, "I don't know. I just want to leave." Like, and so the go-go dancer was like dancing, and then there was a couch behind her with like 3 or 4, like this guy and like a couple of girls like sitting back there hanging out. And I'm like waiting for her to stop to give her the money. And I'm like standing there, and she's just dancing. I was like, "Dude, fuck this." So I just threw all the money at her, and everyone behind the couch like, "Oh shit, dude, he made it rain," like whatever. And I'm like, "Dude, I don't fucking care." I'm like, "Can we just leave?" And so we left, and then
I love that like 21-year-old Justin has no idea about like strip club protocol at all.
Yeah,
like
I only ever went to. I was like, that's another story because I've only ever been to I think a strip club like 3 times. I was like, and I was like, this is like new to me. I was like, I don't know like what to do, but we'll get into that after this. I'm like, but so yeah, so we went to go meet my friends at the other um club that they went to, which is School of Rock, and you had to pay like a cover to get in or whatever. I'm like, God damn it! Like, I really didn't want to pay a cover to go in just to get them, but it was like trying to call them, and it's like they're black. They have like a live DJ and shit, and it's like they're like, and I'm like, dude, I can't fucking hear you.
Yeah.
So we go into School of Rock, and they have like on the dance floor and stuff, they have like stripper poles and like cages and stuff that you can dance in, like all this shit going on, and everyone's dancing, do whatever. So then we meet up with my friends, and we're like dancing, and I end up getting up on the stripper pole, and I was like spinning around, like dancing around it, and I got up in like the cage area and stuff, and then like a security guard like pulled me down because I was swinging in the cage area, and I guess my feet were flailing out and stuff, and he was afraid to kick someone, so he like yanked me down. And then, so then we ended up leaving there, and then the last place we went to was it was a bar, but it was also a hookah bar. And that's like usually like when we've done this before, because we've done this routine place kind of before for like my other roommates when they turned 21. That's kind of what we did. So we always ended at the hookah bar. So we ordered the hookah, and by this point, I'm like, "Dog, what do you want to drink?" I'm like, "Dude, I need water." I'm like, "I'm so thirsty. I'm done drinking. I don't feel good." And so we're sitting there, and like the hookah comes out, and we're hanging out, and then this fucking dude from like across the way like comes over to our table, and he's like wearing a fucking it's some black dude with a fedora, and he's all dressed like in his like slick fucking shirt and shit, and he starts breaking it down in front of our table, like dancing, and then he's like done and like shuffles away, and they were all like, "Dude, you gonna let him serve you like that?" And I was like, "Dude," I was like, "I am so fucked up right now," and I was like, "I do not want to move. I cannot." I'm like, "No." And
I
they're like,
appreciate them all instigating though. Like,
"Yeah."
bro, you can't just take that, can you? Like,
Oh, well, hold on, because I did end up dance battling.
Okay.
It did happen. I did the worm. I was shuffling. I was doing all sorts of shit. And then it's like after that, then him and his buddy came over, and they were like giving me mad props. And then everyone like around us started like talking to us and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, dude. After like dancing, I was like, dude, I don't fucking feel good. And
I
so
bet.
I started puking in the booth, but I had a bunch of empty glasses of water, so I was filling up the empty glasses.
Oh my god.
And my friend Matt and Alex saw me puking, and they're handing me cups of water to fill up, and I'm just like, no one around us notices though that I'm vomiting into cups
Geez.
besides them, and they ran out of water cups. So then I started like just puking under the table, and then Matt took me outside to the side of the bar where I was puking my guts up on the side of the building. And then we went back in, and they're like, "Dude, we gotta go like right now." Like Justin puked all under the boot. And there's this like taxi hanging out in front of the thing, and there's like maybe like 7 of us or something. And it was just like a normal tank. He's like, "Dude, you can't all fit in here." And I were like, "Dude, come on, man, just like cram us in, whatever." And then like the dude from the hookah worker, he's like, "Dude, who the fuck puked in this booth, whatever?" I'm like, "Drive, drive, drive, drive!" And I like jump in the car, and like he drove off with us.
That's great.
Yeah. So that was my actual 21st birthday, and then the week after that, I went with my family to Vegas and celebrated the Vegas 21st birthday. Of like I was smoking cigars, and they're serving me margaritas at the slots, and then like my cousins from Oklahoma came and stuff, and it was funny because my one cousin Tony was like, "Oh, dude, like Daniel Tosh is in town and stuff while we're here." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, And then like the one night, my cousin Jesse was like, "Yeah, dude." She's like, "We're gonna go. Like me and Tony, we're gonna go see Daniel Tosh." I was like, "Oh, that's dope. Have fun." And then he's like, "Dude, we're all going." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Dude, I bought you, me, Jesse, and your friend Brent tickets to go see Daniel Tosh." And I was like, "Dude, that shit's like $160 like a person to go see." He's like, "I know." He's like, "I bought him for your birthday." And I was like, "Dude," so we got high as fuck and went and saw Daniel. And then after Daniel Tosh, he's like, "Dude, what do you want to do right now?" And as we were driving, I saw a sign for Panda Express, and it said it open 24 hours. And I was like, "Bro," I'm like, "Can we get Panda Express and go to GameWorks?" And he's like, "Yeah." So after Daniel Tosh, we got Panda Express and then went to GameWorks.
The wildest 21st birthday.
Yeah. We also went to Fremont Street, and we did go to a strip club on Fremont Street, which was Glitter Gulch, which was
classic.
Yeah, which was like I think that was maybe that was the third and final time I think I'd ever been to a strip club. And dude, like I was so fucking faded, and it's like I had Fremont Street drinks and shit, and like of course my fucking friend Brent, anyone who would listen, he's like, oh, it's his 21st birthday. And I'm like, will you quit fucking telling people that? Because they're like, oh, dude, you need to come in. I'm like, no. And he's like telling that to like all the strippers and stuff. Like, oh, come get dance. I'm like, no. I'm like, because some of these strippers are fucking scary. And I was like, nah. I was like, I'm good. Like, thanks.
So
and then my friend.
I am also not a strip club fan at all, really. Like, I mean, I've gone to them for like bachelor parties and stuff like that, but like, I would never choose to go to one on my own accord, like ever. You know, like the whole thing just seems kind of sad to me, but.
Well, it's just like they're usually like really fucking dirty, and it's like I don't know, like I don't know how much fucking dances are, like what I don't want to get like suckered into like getting something, and it's like, oh, you owe me like $80 now.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we went to Clear Gulch, and my friend Brent bought me a fucking lap dance from this hideous fucking stripper that I did not want to lap dance from, and I was just like sitting there like,
is it over yet?
Yeah. And then when it was over, she was like saying that I owed her money, but Brent said that he had like already paid. But I was just like, I was so gone though at this point. I was like, it was like $40 or something, and I was like, what? Or no, she wanted like $60 or something for a dance, and I was like, dude, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. I was like, I have like $40. I'm like, whatever. And then she's like, well, we can go back here too, and like we take card or whatever. And I was like, I'm like, nah, that's cool, man. Like,
I'm out. Yeah.
So I went and sat at the table, and then Brent fucking anytime like he was like someone was like oh, you want to dance, and he's like, well, he's like, I have no money, so unless you're gonna give me one out of pity. And then after he said that, dude, we were treated like the fucking plague, because basically it's like, you tell them you don't have money, you're like not worth their time.
Nope, you're just taking up space at that point. But so Fremont Street, we were down there. It was like for the NFL draft one of these years. Like, it was probably 10 years ago now or something. But my buddy Carlos again, he one of those you said the Fremont Street drinks, and it sparked a memory of him getting a. They had the like one of the slushy guys, right? The alcoholic slushy things, but it was a 64-ounce football.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah,
they had like the guitars and shit too.
Yeah. So his was a football with a straw coming out of it. Now the thing about this, if it had just been the slushy, it would have been fine. Carlos, being Carlos and always having to be a little extra about himself, convinced them to fill it with Red Bull and vodka. So they filled the football with ice and then proceeded to pour 4 cans of Red Bull in it, which only filled it about halfway, and then just dumped vodka in there until it was full, put the sealer on, shook it, opened it, put a straw in it, and handed it to him. And he drank that goddamn thing. The whole thing. Like, it was gone in 40 minutes. And it was just one of those, like, it's up there with the drunkest I've ever seen him, and I have seen this man drunk many times. But it was impressive on so many levels. The fact that he convinced these people to do it, which I guarantee you is legal. You know, like...
Yeah. I'm like, 4 cans of Red Bull alone is going to put you in the hospital without the vodka.
And then, like, half a fifth of vodka on top of that. And, they're not pouring fucking Grey Goose. This was some, like, plastic jug Gilby shit they're pouring in there. So then it was like, oh, haha, you got him to do it. This is great. Like, this is funny. And he's like, yeah, and it's awesome. And just proceeds to, like, slam the damn thing. It was just like, bro, no. I know we're in Vegas, but no, man, you just can't do that. Like, that's awful. So then we go to do a really nice dinner after that. The girls are with us. We meet back up. We go to some, like, high-end steakhouse for dinner, and he's just sitting there like this, just grabbing the table for stability, that type of drunk, But we got a steak down him. He felt a lot better once he got a steak in him. He made it the rest of the night. He rallied like a champ, but that was a rough couple hours. He was hurting there for a little bit. Impressive, though. Impressive. So, just since we're spiraling off here, his bachelor party, we're in Mexico. And we go fishing in this little, like, fishing community down there. It's called Los Barriles, and it's a group of like 10 of us. He again, Carlos being Carlos, brings a collection of like build your own crazy straw set.
Okay.
It's just, if you knew him, it wouldn't shock you at all that he had this. It's just like, yeah, of course you're bringing a build your own crazy straw set, right? He then has a liter mug. He brought this all with him to Mexico. Keep in mind, this is not stuff he purchased in Mexico. This is stuff that came in the luggage. A liter mug, the crazy straws, and then it was a handle, so a 175 of Kraken black rum, and Coke. And he proceeded to drink, by my account, was 3 liters of rum and Cokes that night through crazy straws. And so Carlos is one of those guys where all he does, he's a talker. He's talking all the time. Talking. And now we get up the next morning to go fishing. This is early. This is like 6:45-ish. We're all sit down for breakfast. And I'm eating. And I realize it's been about 15 minutes, and I haven't heard Carlos say a word. Not one word in like 15 minutes. And I just kind of slowly look down at the end of the table where he's sitting, and there's a huge plate of food in front of him, and he is just staring at it. Not eating, just staring at it. His skin looks a little green, and I'm like, hey man, what? Why don't you miss fishing today? Why don't you just hang out? Like, I don't think being out on the water is going to be good for you. Like, just hang out today. He's like, no, I'll be fine. We get up to the room. We're getting all the fishing gear. All of a sudden, he just takes a hard right into the bathroom. The door slams, and I hear, you guys go ahead and go fishing. I ain't going. I'm like, yeah, all right, no problem. But yeah, went a little too big with the rum and Coke. That's a lot of rum and Coke. All I know is he had a 175 of Kraken, and there was maybe a third of that bottle left the next day, and no one else was drinking rum. So that was,
Jesus.
Yeah, it was impressive, to say the least. Impressive.
Yeah, I was like circling back to Fremont Street. The first time I did the Fremont Street experience, I was 19, I think, and I went with a group of friends for a wedding,
Okay.
and my friend Troy was the only one of us who was actually 21, and so he was going to like the different stalls serving the slushies and was buying us each one.
Nice.
And I got the first one, and like mine was like some strawberry like daiquiri like giant slushy thing. It was delicious. But then for everyone else's, he got like that too, but he did the extra shot of Everclear.
Oh.
And like everyone was using mine as like a chaser because everyone else's tasted like pure alcohol where mine tasted good. And I'm like, dude, fuck off. I'm like quit drinking all mine. Yeah. And so we're all fucking bunch of like 19-year-old kids fucking wandering around Fremont Street fucking plastered. And like we were staying at the Circus, and we had taken a taxi from Circus to Fremont. And we were like, all right, let's go back to Circus and go fuck around in the arcade until it closes. And we were like, do you think we could walk back? And we were like, I don't really want to. We were like, I don't really want to pay for a fucking like $40 for a taxi again to get back. And we're like, I think we can walk back to Circus. So we walked from Fremont Street through the ghetto back to Circus, and like some dude on like a bike like pulled up to us while we're like walking back and stuff and was like asking if we wanted to buy hash. And like my friend Troy's like reaching for his wallet, and I'm like, Troy, and he's like, what? And I'm like, no. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, we're not buying anything from some fucking stranger at like 10:30 at night, like in fucking like Las Vegas. Like, I don't think so. And we ended up walking, and then we ran into the pawn shop from Pawn Stars.
Okay.
And I was so excited, and I was like, dude, let's go in. And I ran and realized it was closed, and I was so upset. And then they're like, dude, it's okay. We can just come back tomorrow when it's open. And I was like, all right. And We did, but I wasn't nearly as impressed, I think, as I would have been when I was like really intoxicated to go in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. That's if anyone's listening that doesn't know, Vegas blocks aren't like regular blocks, and structures in Vegas are really big. You can see them from a long ways away, and you're like, oh, I should just walk there. I know it's 100 degrees out, but like, look, like if you're say you're at the Mirage, right, and you're going like, oh, this restaurant I want to go to is in New York, New York. Well, I'm standing here on the strip. I can see New York, New York. Like it's right there. Like let's just walk there. Let's just go. And I don't want to pay $20 for a cab. Like I can walk it in 10 minutes. Why would I do that? No, that's like a 45-minute walk. That is
Yeah,
that is a long ways away. And you're right. It's only like 8 properties away. Those properties are every single one's like fucking Disneyland. You know, like it's like they are huge, and it's one of those things where you until you've done it a few times, you just have no grasp of like distance in Vegas and what that means.
yeah, and we got lost like on the way back to Circus Circus. So then we were like walking through like some like palm tree front area, some other like casino, trying to find Circus Circus. And by the time we got to Circus Circus, there was like 40 minutes left that the arcade was open.
Yeah, yeah, right. Oh, jeez. But you're probably all pretty sober by that point. That's a long walk.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sober enough to, of course, get more alcohol by the
Well,
time we got there. But then funny because so then we got there and stuff, and then we went to bed. Dude, I woke up the next morning and I was like so fucking hungover, and I felt like shit. And I was like, dude, I need fucking water. And like, we didn't have any bottles of water, anything in the hotel, and I couldn't find my shoes. And I'm
oh
just like,
no.
oh, whatever. And I was like, Troy. And I woke up, I'm like, Troy, I'm like, I'm going to go get water. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, can you get me water? And I'm like, sure. And he like he's like laying face first in the bed and just reaches in his back pocket, pulls his wallet out, throws it at me, and it hits me in the chest. And he's like, take what you need. And I was like, okay. So I took like a 20 and I couldn't find my shoes. And so me and my friend Caleb walked through the casino and I'm barefoot.
Oh,
And
geez.
like, I went into the gift shop and bought like 3 or 4 like huge bottles of water and walked like back. And in this time, Troy woke up, had to puke, made it like halfway to the bathroom, but
Oh
Tanner was in the
no.
bathroom, so he puked like in like front of the bathroom door, like and like all over the
Oh
floor,
man.
and it like trailed everywhere to because they had to find the garbage can. So I like opened the door and it like reeked of vomit, and I'm like, God
Oh,
damn it!
oh
And
man.
so then I finally found my shoes, and then uh, I like me and Troy walked to McDonald's, and I got like a chicken biscuit, and it was like the best chicken biscuit I've ever had
Oh
in my
yeah.
life. And I wanted to like hang out in the hot tub, but it didn't open until like 10 or something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, and Troy's like, man, that sucks. I'm like, yeah, it does. And I'm like, lift me over the gate. And he's like, all right. So he like threw me over the gate and I opened the gate from the other side. So then we were hanging out in the hot tub and then like some like maintenance people came by and they're like, how'd you get in here? And I was like, gate was open. And they're like, okay, well, you're not supposed to be in here, so you're gonna have to leave. And I'm like, oh, all right. But we had already been hanging out there for like 30, 40 minutes or whatever. So I'm like, whatever,
Nice.
I'm done
You're
anyway.
like you're like I got my time in. I'm good.
Right?
Um, yeah, that's the thing with those slushy drinks. There's so much sugar in them that you are just all it is hangover. Like you can have one and pound water the rest of the day, and you're still gonna be hungover. Like there's just so much sugar in them with the alcohol. It's all bad, just all bad. Yeah, Vegas is a trip. I really enjoy it though. I don't drink anymore, so that those shenanigans aren't part of my equation. But I'm a gambler. I like the tables. I like betting on sports. I like all the food. There's some amazing food in Vegas.
Dude,
So
like, that's the thing is, like, we don't really, like, me and Megan and stuff, like we don't really gamble and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And it's like, I'll like occasionally, like, like if we're like out, or like where I get like a margarita, or like if we go to a bar, I'll get like a couple
Yeah.
ciders or like something. But um, dude, yeah, the last time when we went to Vegas though, we ate at like there's like one like really good Korean barbecue place that's like all you
Mm.
can eat. That's like some of the best
Nice.
Korean barbecue I've ever had. But then there was like this other place that was like I want to say, what was it, like dim sum or like something.
Okay.
They had the best, like it was homemade soy sauce, and I
Oh,
didn't realize
nice.
the container on the table was soy sauce because it was in like
Mm-hmm.
a fancy little like tea kettle thing or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
towards the end of the meal, I was like, I'm like, what is this? And then I realized it was soy sauce, and I was like, oh, I wish I would have known that earlier. And then I tasted it, and it was the best fucking soy. And I was like, filled with so much regret that I didn't have that throughout the entire meal. I was so upset.
You're like sitting there, just at the kettle, just pouring it in your mouth, just
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
uh,
what little scraps were left on the table? I'm like dunking it in the soy sauce. I'm like crying. I'm like, dude, this is so good.
you're like, I need more pork buns. Can you just bring me more pork buns? Just
Please,
I know they're $40. Just give me another order of pork buns.
waiter.
Garcon, pork buns. Um, yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. There's some like I like all the OG Vegas places like Golden Steer and Hugo Cellar and stuff like that, where like the old Sinatra style steakhouses. I like all that shit. And then there's what is it, in Bellagio? There's an Asian place called Noodles, and it's like everything's hand pulled, fresh made noodles every day, and it's some of the best just Chinese food you've ever had in your life. Like it's ridiculous, and it's like this hole in the wall next to the freaking pai gow tables. You never would know that it's like insanely good food. It looks like just one of those restaurants that's on the side of a casino, like, oh, there's just some Chinese food over by where the Chinese people play at the pai gow. And it's like, no, it's actually insane. It's really good. Like, go there. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's funny how Vegas has changed for me because, I'm fucking old now. But when I was in my 20s, it was always like, oh, we're going to go get bottle service at the clubs, and then we're going to like do the pool all day and then do the club all night and like just fucking rage it for like 48 hours. It's going to be great. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do a club. I'm going to do like an insanely good restaurant, and I'm not going to do the club pool. I'm going to do like the mellow pool where like, I get some coffee brought to me and I can read a paper. Like it's like one of those like, damn, I'm old, but I still enjoy it. But that's the good thing about Vegas. It has both. You can do both there. So
Well, and that's like one of the big things. Like when I was like younger and stuff, that when I'd go with my mom and stuff to Vegas to do was at the I think it was the Hilton and stuff.
mm-hmm.
They had the Star Trek experience.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, because my mom's entire side of her family, all huge Trekkies. So it was like,
Okay.
we would specifically like stay at the Hilton because of the Star Trek experience, and
Nice.
we would do it like multiple times. And then eventually they added on, for the God, what the fuck's his name? I don't remember, the Ferengi or whatever from Deep
Yeah.
Space Nine. That his bar. So it's like when you get off of the ride and stuff, it's like a Star Trek themed bar and the gift
Oh, that's
shop and
cool.
like whatever. So then we'd get like fishbowl. They'd get like fishbowl drinks, and then
Uh-huh.
we'd get like food and stuff at the bar and hang out.
That's cool. So the Flamingo Hilton though, when the first time I ever went to Vegas, I want to say I was like 16 and went with my family, and it blew my mind because so my parents had a room, my sister and I had a room, and my sister is 4 years older than me, so I got up at like 3 in the morning and she wasn't there, and I was like, because of course she's not. She's 20 years old. She's out on the town in Vegas, and but I was like, well, I want to see what this is all about. Like, so I got dressed and like hit the floor at 3 in the morning, and it like melted my brain that there were more people out on the casino floor and like around at 3 in the morning than there were at 3 in the afternoon.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. Like it was just one of those like, I can't. this is melting my brain that exists this way, you know, like it was so nuts. But I also, the other thing about that trip is, for whatever reason, and I'm pretty sure the game had come and gone by that point, but the arcade had like an original Mortal Kombat 3 machine. And I want to say it was like I think Mortal Kombat 3 came out when I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. Like it had been a few years. But like I muscle memory all came back, and it just like I played that machine for I can't tell you how long while I was on that trip. And it was like the funnest thing I've done in forever, because it was just one of those, like, I knew all the moves and I knew all the fatalities and I could just play it. And it was great. And it was old enough that like no one else was ever playing it. So
Yeah,
I didn't,
like,
it's not like I had to wait for it or fight for the machine at all. It was just like, I could just walk up and play this. And I just played hours of fucking Mortal Kombat 3 on that trip for some reason. But it was a blast. So I dug it.
I was like, oh man, I was gonna say I had something else with Vegas. I can't. Oh, that's right. I remember. I was like, when I was a kid, like one of my other like memories of Vegas was like when I was younger, because like my uncle always do like a bowling tournament and stuff in Vegas every year and stuff. So like we would go and see them because they're from Oklahoma, so it was closer to just go to Vegas and see them while they're there than go to
Sure.
Oklahoma and do whatever. And
Like, so what's Vegas from Phoenix? Like 4 or 5 hours, something like that?
yeah, I think about like 4.
Okay, yeah.
And it was funny because my mom was down gambling in the casino and stuff, and my uncle Larry and my dad were up at the room watching me, and they both like passed out cold, like fell asleep. And I was like, well, I want to watch something on TV, and I ended up pay-per-viewing Scream 3.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, maybe, I don't know, 8, 9, and like
way too young for that movie.
yeah.
Way too young.
And my mom came back up to the room, and I'm like sitting there like terrified on the bed, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I really need to use the bathroom, but it's dark, like in that corner of the room over there." And I was like, I watched Scream 3, and she like ripped my dad like a new one. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like I was asleep. Like I don't know what you're.
You just threw your dad under the bus, man. Just back that truck on over him. Brutal.
Dude, I was like, speaking of throwing my dad under the bus, there was a restaurant here like a long time ago called Bobby McGee's,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like everyone was dressed up, kind of like someone was dressed up as like Captain Hook, and like knockoff, or like it was like fairy tale, like not specifically like Disney's version of it, but just like Captain Hook and Peter Pan and just like different children's storybook like characters and stuff. And we went there for my birthday, and my mom's friend Stephanie was with us and stuff. And the entire time, my dad was like calling her like my girlfriend and stuff to like the waiter and stuff, and she was laughing, and he was just embarrassing the shit out of me. And I had to go to the bathroom, and my mom's like, "All right, like like, dear, can you take him, to the bathroom and stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he takes me to the bathroom, and we're standing there washing our hands, and I fill my hands up with water and throw it on his crotch, and then immediately run out of the bathroom. And I run back to the table, and my mom's like, "Where's your dad?" And I was like, "He's still in the bathroom." And he was wearing blue jeans, so he comes walking back to the table, and it looks like he pissed his pants. And my mom was like dying laughing, and I was probably like 9.
Oh man, you would have. How did he not just rip you out of that seat and out of that restaurant?
Yeah,
like, oh
like,
my god.
You could see it on his face. Like, he was pissed, but it was one of those things where he was pissed, but he like acknowledged. He's like, you got me. Like, I was making fun of you. You did it. I deserved it. I'm gonna get you though. Later when we're not home. But I'm gonna give it to you.
when these women folk aren't around, boy, let me tell you. Yeah, for sure.
When we get behind closed doors, he's like, "I'm gonna grab you by the ankles
Yeah.
and like skim your feet, like near the ceiling fan." Like,
Oh shit. Yeah, I mean I'll commend you. I'll give you some applause for that move because, like, if my memory serves, you have told me your father is like 6'8" or some crazy giant thing, right? Like,
I was like, dude, what he used to do to me as a kid was because when he was a kid, he ran his foot over with a lawnmower
oof,
and it chopped the tip of his big toe off, and he had to get it
okay.
like resewn on and stuff. And so his like big toenails all like mangled and shit
Oh,
from the
sure, yeah,
lawnmower.
yeah.
And all the time I make fun of it and I say that it's like green and that it like infused with the grass and stuff when he like mowed the lawn. And but when I was a kid, he didn't tell me that it got ran over with a lawnmower. He said that his dad turned the ceiling fan on high, grabbed him by his ankles, and accidentally put his feet too close to the fan, and it chopped the tip of his toe off. So as a kid, to fuck with me, he would turn the fan on high and grab me by my ankles
Oh,
and like
jeez.
get my feet as close to the fan. I'm screaming my fucking head off, and my mom's like, "Will you put him down?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"Ah!"
God. You're gonna cut off my
Yeah,
toes.
I was like, he's like, "We're gonna have matching toes," and I'm like, "No, no!"
So, one of us, one of
One of
us.
us. One
Um,
of us.
yeah. So, but it's funny how like kids are different because so my son tore a cuticle, right? And
Oh,
it was, and when it happened, it was bad. Like it tore real bad, real deep. But then it got infected, and it was
uh,
just this huge pussy mess for like a week. That we had, you got to put the disinfectant on, you got to keep it wrapped, all that bullshit. And he, and at one point, I made the joke of like, well, it's looking pretty bad. Might have to just cut that off. Yeah. And that was the wrong joke to make with that kid. I learned that day. I learned, Justin, because he took that way too seriously, and it took him like hours to calm down from that one little comment I made as a joke, just trying to break the tension as we were cleaning it out, you know. Now, my fast forward a couple years, and my daughter tears a cuticle, but it's not as bad, but it's bleeding, and she's looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cut it out, you know. So like, and I'm mentally preparing myself, having gone through this with my son. I'm like, all right, I got my wife to hold her down, you know, and I've got a death grip on her hand so she can't move her thumb when I cut the cuticle and all this. And meanwhile, I cut it, not a tear, not a scream, nothing. She just holds it up as it's bleeding down her arm, just like, ah, that's cool. And it starts like poking at it and shit, you know, like digging. It's like night and day different. Like from that point on, I was like, man, my daughter is a savage. Like she is just like ruthless out there. And she is. Like we call her zero Fs because she has none. Like she just she'll figure it out when she lands. I'm gonna jump now, but I'll figure it out when I get to the ground. You know, like that's just how she lives her life. It's crazy.
she's gonna be
But
that kid in middle school playing quarters under the bleachers, like hosing kids.
yeah, for sure. Like or just like beating people up for their lunch money or something. Like that's
Yeah,
just who she is. Like she's like, oh, I figured out a way to solve this problem. I'll just beat you up and take it. That'll solve this issue. Like yeah, no, it's she's ruthless. But John, it's funny because my son is a very like he's not timid, but he's very cautious. You know, like
like reserved.
yeah, and he like thinks through things a lot. Like, okay, if I do this, then that happens, and then if that happens, then this happens, and then well, if that happens, then I got to do this, and like he's all he'll like be paralyzed through thought process, like trying to think everything out. He ends up doing nothing half the time, you know. Where my daughter is just like I do not have time to worry about your feelings. We're just doing this. Like, get in the car, loser. We're going. And yeah, and it's funny because they're both, you know, I've been there the whole time. They've both been raised pretty much the same way, but like the hardwiring is just different. It's up in their brains. It's different. So And it's funny because, like, do you have any siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
Yeah, I have an older sister, like I said before, and my sister was. It's funny because my sister is way more my daughter as far as the mental outlook of like I'll burn the bridge I'm standing on just to prove a point, you know. Where I'm more, I'm not quite like my son. That's more my wife is more like my son, but I was never as bad as the girls are,
You're
and
like a happy middle.
yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not trying to like the girls are out there trying to cause problems. You know, like they're just bored. They just want to mess with you and see what happens. But but it's interesting, just like the hardwiring. It's like it's just in there from birth. I don't know. It's funny. I don't even know how I got off on that tangent, but it just started. But here we are.
I know. I used to have, as a kid, dude, I had really bad ingrown toenails.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so like on my big toes. So like my mom would have to like hold my legs down while my dad's like sitting there with like a sewing needle and like some nail clippers and stuff to
Yep.
try and like
Yep.
get it
Take
out
it
far enough
out.
to flip it. Yeah, where it got to the point where on both my toes I had to have the procedure done where they basically like numb your big toe and stuff, and then they take like a razor blade and like cut the
Mm-hmm.
sides off your toes and
I
stuff so that you can't get ingrown toenails anymore.
So I had to have that done once I started playing football. And it's just from being in a football stance all the time, the pressure on your toes like that, and I would get insanely bad ingrown toenails from it. And yeah, I ended up having it done on both feet too for the same reason.
Yeah,
So,
I had it done on one, and then he's like, "Well, while you're here, you want me to do it on the other?" And I'm like, "Fuck no!" Like, and then like a month later, I had like a really bad ingrown toenail, and then it was like, "Well, you're gonna have it done on this toe," and I'm like, "God damn it!" Like, I thought everything would be okay.
you're like I could have just knocked it out. Damn it. That was in the good old days when they used to give kids Vicodin and shit when I was getting it done. Like it's hilarious when I think back now. I mean, this is 1990 shit, what 94, 95 for me, and I'm a child. I am 14 years old and in a doctor's office to get this ingrown toenail cut out, and they're prescribing me like straight up like legit painkillers. Like, here you go, kid. Here's 20 painkillers for your ingrown toenail. And I'm like you think now, it's like, how insane does that seem? And it was just like what they did. Like, here you go, have some Vicodin, kid. Knock yourself out. Like,
Dude, one time I was a kid, my mom was on the phone and she was out smoking a cigarette on the patio. And while she was not in the room with me, I'm like, now's the perfect time to jump on the couch. And so while she was out, I was jumping around on like the couch, having a grand old time. And I was doing like, on like a trampoline when you jump and then you sit, and you bounce back up and
mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I was doing that. And one of the times when I did it, my leg wasn't completely straight. So when my ass hit the cushion, my like leg came rocketing at my face and I kneed myself in the nose and I fell off the couch and my nose was like bleeding really bad and I was like,
Oh,
"Uh-oh."
jeez.
And so I ran to the kitchen and I got like the kitchen towel and stuff and I was like holding my face and I was trying to tell my mom and I was like, "Mom." And she's like, "I'm on the phone." Like whatever. And I was like, "Mom." And she's like, "Justin, go inside." And I was like, "Fine." So then I'm sitting on the couch holding it and she like 15 minutes go by or whatever and she
Yeah.
comes inside and she's on the phone and she sees like the trail of blood like in
Right.
front of like the door when I tried to tell her and she's like, "Oh my god." And she's like, "Justin," she's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "I was jumping on the couch and I hit my nose and I'm bleeding a lot." And she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "I tried to tell you and you wouldn't listen." And so she had to take me to urgent care and they were like plugging my nose and stuff to try and get the bleeding to stop.
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right." He's like, "Well," he's like, "I'm going to shoot a little bit of liquid cocaine up your nose to stop the bleed." And he said the word cocaine and like the entire week seminar from Dare at my school about
Oh
drugs
yeah, for
kicked in
sure.
and I had the biggest bitch fit. And I was like, he's gonna inject drugs into me, and I was freaking out, and I was like, No, I was like, cocaine is a drug, Mom. I'm like, it
Oh,
kills every year. And she's like, no. She's like, it's not the same cocaine. She's like, he's like, the doctor's like, well, it's kind of the same. And he's like, you're not helping. Like, I'm like, no, it's gonna. And she's like, it's gonna stop the bleeding. And I'm like, I don't want cocaine in my nose.
that's hilarious. Meanwhile, he's like, no, really, kid, you're gonna love this. Just
Yeah. He's like, dude, at 9:30, my ass is shooting this stuff.
all right, like
He's
trying to get through his like 36-hour shift. It's like,
yeah. He puts on Dave Matthews Band, shoots up a little liquid cocaine.
Just whatever you need to do to get by, man. I ain't here to judge. Shit.
Dude, I also I saw the other day that you made some ramen.
I did, and it turned out fucking great. Like I was super stoked by it. Like I love actual ramen, not like top ramen, but like Japanese restaurant ass ramen. And everything around us is closed. That would make it where I would normally get my fix. So I decided to take it upon myself to actually try to make it. I'm like, it can't be that hard. Like I make spaghetti and shit all the time. Like it can't be that difficult. It's like Japanese spaghetti, right? And to a point, it wasn't that hard, but it was. I also don't cook with a lot of Asian ingredients a lot, so for me, it was about the adventurous part was like, okay, how do I find like seaweed sheets and like dried shiitake mushrooms and mirin and like all this other stuff that fish sauce and all this shit that like I would not
hit
have.
up that Asian market.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, luckily in the Bay Area, these are not rare ingredients to come by in the Bay Area. It's just you got to know what store to go to, and so I gathered up all my ingredients and it took probably like 45 minutes from beginning to end to put it all together and chopped it all up, and I made my ramen eggs, which was fun, and had myself a big bowl of ramen. It was delicious. It's really good. I would do it again.
So that's one of my questions for you. Do you prefer the hard boiled egg over soft boiled?
So that was one of my fuck ups. Is I prefer a soft boiled egg.
Okay.
I much prefer a soft boiled egg.
You just goofed.
Yeah, and see, so I make hard boiled eggs with the Instant Pot, and it was one of those things because it's the first time I had ever done it. I release the pressure on the Instant Pot, and then what you're supposed to do at that point is pull them and put them in an ice bath.
Yes.
And I released the pressure on the Instant Pot, and then immediately forgot about the eggs entirely as I went back to doing the 10 other things I was trying to do to like get the prep done, and realized about 10 minutes later, oh shit, the eggs are still in there. I'm like, well, they're hard boiled now. But okay. But no, I much prefer a soft-boiled egg to a hard-boiled egg for ramen. But it still tasted good. Still tasted good though. It still did the job. I need to get some of your special soy sauce though to complete it next time.
I know you'll have to go to Vegas.
I know. They're like be sitting there with like the shakes, just be like, someone told me I could get some soy sauce. Like,
you just like have one of those big Ziploc freezer bags tucked in your crotch. Right? And you're just dumping it in there.
People used to take beer into the freaking football stadiums and stuff, like it's just a big bladder that runs down your leg. Like,
dude, well, at Vegas, that's what my grandma would do. Is she would have tinfoil in her purse, and she'd hit the buffet and get the slices of ham, and like put it in her purse with the foil. Yeah, dude, legit. And you would see her, my grandma and my grandma Joe. You'd see their asses sitting at the slots with purse open, with a half like unopened thing of foil, with ham just sitting there ripping little pieces of ham, eating ham and turkey and shit from the buffet.
Oh my god, that is so funny. That is so great. It's like smuggling in some aluminum foil. Like, yeah, we're gonna make this happen.
That's what they would do. We'd always go do the buffet when it was like the seafood night, and they'd like eat nothing but like the shrimp and lobster and seafood, and then before we'd leave, hit up the ham and the turkey and shit and load up the purse with it, and they'd send me with a plate and stuff to like bring shit back to the table to like load up in the purse.
Oh man, that is so good. That is so good. Shit. Um, no, I always feel bad for. I like that we've gone on a Vegas tangent, by the way, but I always feel bad for like the kid that's with his family in Vegas and they're at the buffet and they're just shoveling crab legs down him. It's one of those like, we paid for this buffet. I don't care what you actually want to eat, Brian. You're going to eat as many crab legs as I can get down you. And it's just like, dude, come on. Like, no 8-year-old kid wants to just mash down crab legs, guy. Like, what are you doing? You know? It's like, can you get the kid some mac and cheese? Can you get him a bowl of Cheerios? That's sitting right there. Just let the kid eat some Cheerios. Jesus.
Well, it's like funny because they always make fun of me like every time when even like now like when we've gone to Vegas and stuff with them and we do the buffet with when they do the crab legs and stuff. Like I'm not a huge seafood person, so it's like but when I do like the buffet and stuff, I'm coming back to the table with pizza and mashed potatoes and gravy and some like fried chicken or some shit and
Maybe
like
a prime rib slice.
yeah, some like
Yeah,
onion rings and like whatever.
sure.
And everyone else has like all the seafood and they're like, we paid $30 for seafood night and you're over here eating pizza. I'm like, yeah, that's what I wanted to fucking eat. Like
Yeah.
I didn't say we had to come on. I don't give a shit about the seafood. Like
You're like, as an adult that paid my own money for this? Yeah, you're goddamn right that's what I'm eating. Like, yeah.
I'm gonna drink my orange Fanta, fucking
Right.
dunk my slice of pizza in my mashed potatoes and gravy, and enjoy my fucking time. Eat my
Yeah.
one plate worth of food, get some ice cream, and call it quits.
Yeah, I that's the thing. I've never really understood buffets. I mean, I get like you get to eat a lot of stuff. You get to try a lot of different things. But there's like people that take it to a competition level where it's like, okay, the first plate is going to be mashed potatoes and a salad, and then we're going fried chicken, and then I'm going seafood. And it's like, bro, like, why are you planning on being in a buffet for 3 hours? Like, what are you doing? Like, come on, man. It's like, never made sense to me. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I get down on some food. I'm not like I'm anti-food over here, but it's just at some point, you gotta call it. It's just it's enough is enough.
Well, see, for me, it's like everyone's always like, "Oh, you're only having one plate." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I load up that like there's not one spot of free real estate on that first plate that I get, and it's like 2 plates worth of food on one plate, and I eat it all, and then I'm done. I'm like, that's it."
Yeah, and like thankfully I'm not one of those people that like, oh, I can't have my food touch. You know, like shit, I'll pile the whole thing up and just eat it straight down. Like I don't even care. Yeah, but it's funny because like I know some people like that where like, oh, the salad is touching the meat. Like, oh, that's so great. It's like it's all gonna get mixed up in your stomach, man. Like, why are you worried about that?
I was like, Megan's that way where she doesn't want her like you'll sit there with the fork and like put like a good like 2 inch like space between the stuff so nothing's touching.
Oh no.
And I'm just like using like the pizza's like 3 inches off the plate to create additional plate to stack shit on top of.
The Mongolian barbecue thing where you like use the frozen meat to extend the bowl.
Yeah.
You just keep piling on it. Yeah.
Yeah, where you like stack it up like amateur like if your frozen Mongolian stuff isn't like 3 bowls high, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, totally. By the way, you want to talk my weakness? Fuck, Mongolian barbecue, dude. Like I can goddamn, I can get down on some Mongolian barbecue. Like that is my weakness right there. Like
I think I've only had like the Mongolian barbecue I think maybe twice in my entire it was good. It's just not something I think that like is like nearby really for me or that I've ever really like gone out to.
See, there used to be one really close, and then it closed, and the nearest one is like a 40-minute drive away. So that kind of killed my Mongolian barbecue like thing for a while. But then my wife and I have discovered there's one that opened up like 10 minutes away. And that's become like a scary proposition when it's like, oh, that's super close. Whew, boy, that's yeah, man, I like have to find reasons why I'm not going now, you know, because I would eat there fucking 6 days a week if I was left to my own devices, you know. So it was like, I don't really need to gain 400 pounds just from eating Mongolian barbecue every day, so I probably need to mix in a salad here and there. Yeah, but
Like, or
I
just
fucking
add extra vegetables to the Mongolian barbecue.
yeah, I could actually do that. Like not have just 8 pounds of meat and noodles and actually mix in some veggies. But where's the fun in that? No, nobody wants that. Just
Dude, I know it sucks. So like for a while we were driving out to California to get tattooed because that's where our artist was,
okay.
and we would just do like drive there, get tattooed, eat, and then drive back, and just do it all
Mm.
in like one day. And every time we would eat out there, there's a place out there called it's like Epic Wings and Things.
Okay, yeah. I don't. I've heard of it. I've never eaten there though. But yeah.
Dude, they're like they're like it's the wings and stuff and like it's really good, but they have the bread like they're like garlicky like whatever is
Hmm.
fucking amazing, and that's like
Yeah.
the best. And like yeah, that's like we would go get tattooed, and then it's like all right, we're getting Epic Wings and Things, and then driving home, which it's like, and then it's like afterwards it's like sometimes we tried to like get the food to go and then eat it on the drive
Yeah.
home, but it's like wings are not the best thing to try and
No.
eat while driving.
No, they aren't. They are not. That is true.
Trying to like,
I
dunk
I
it
have
in
I have
ranch.
tried it myself. And it just never really works.
And your hands are all messy, and then you're like, kind of, you got napkins all stuck to them and shit, and you're just like, God damn it, you're like shaking napkins off, like in the
And
passenger
then you
seat.
try to like, oh, I'll just pick it up with the napkin. That'll work. And then you end up like eating half a napkin, and you're like, fuck, it just
Yeah,
never
it's all
works.
stuck to the
Yeah,
napkin.
yeah. Chicken
Dude,
wings though.
I love wings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get a hankering for wings sometimes. Like, I'll just be sitting there and I'm like, dude, like some like buffalo style chicken tenders or something. I'm like, I could fuck that up.
Yeah, I'm big on the lemon pepper wings. I fucks with some lemon pepper. That's really good stuff. Um, so fun story. I was out one night. My buddy Colin. We were down in Palo Alto, and there was a. I'm meeting him. I'm coming from work. Everyone else had been there for a while, and I show up, and there's like some food left from where everyone was eating, and I get a beer and I sit down, and we're all BSing, and there's like 2 wings left on this plate in front of Colin. He's like, "Oh, dude, I'm not gonna eat those. If you want to like have one of them," and I'm like, "Yeah, cool, man, that works." And so I eat the first wing, and I'm halfway through the second one when the heat from the first wing hits me. Because I was hungry, so I was just like downing them,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I'm like, I was like, dude, what are these? And he's like, oh, those are their ghost pepper wings.
Oh
And
no.
I look at him like, you son of a bitch, because he knew that it was going to be too much for me, and he just didn't tell me, because he wanted to see what I would do. And so I'm sitting in this place sweating, like it is not hot by any means, and all of a sudden I'm just like pouring sweat from eating 1.5 fucking ghost pepper wings, and my mouth's on fire, and I'm just like I'm like having trouble like putting myself together because like I'm in public, so I can't just be like motherfucker. Um, and the waitress comes over and is like, "Hey, can I get you guys anything?" And I look at her, I'm like, "Yeah, can you give me a glass of milk?" Now this is like a college bar on like a Friday night, and she goes, "Excuse me," and I look at her, I'm like, "Milk." I need a glass of milk. And I'm like trying not to scream at her because I'm like in so much pain. And the rest of the table is just losing it. They're laughing their ass off at me. Everyone else is just like dying. And God bless her, she brought me a glass of milk, and I pounded that shit in like 2 seconds, and it fixed my whole rest of my night. But I was ready to murder my friend Colin after that because I was dying. That was like the hottest freaking wings I've ever had in my life.
Dude, that's like when I worked at Fry's, I was when I was like a courtesy clerk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when they told like when I like just started, it was like my first week or whatever, and one of the other courtesy clerks, Dante, told me that like it was tradition or whatever for the new courtesy clerk person to basically eat a habanero pepper. And
Jeez.
I was like, all right, like whatever, I don't care. And so it was like the end of my shift, or whatever, and he like went into produce and brought me this like little like or orange habanero pepper and was like,
Hmm.
here you go. And I was like, all right, and I just like I bit like off like the entire thing like in my mouth and just like did like chew swallow, and
Yeah.
I was like, all right, yeah, that wasn't that bad, whatever. And then I get home and it's like my entire throat is on my ears were on fire, like it burned, and I'm like laying on the ground, and I like got the milk out of the fridge yet, and I'm like
Yeah.
chugging
Yeah.
milk, and it was like relief while chugging the milk, but as soon as the milk was gone, it was like instant pain again, and my
Yeah.
stomach was like regret in my throat and ears. I was like, oh god, I was like, I fucking hate this, and it took probably like a solid like hour before like it was like done being in pain.
That sucks. Uh, so when I worked at Sony, this was 2001. There was a new. So like most QA departments, still it was a lot of temp hires, and then they would basically cherry pick 2 or 3 employees every cycle, game quarter to become permanent employees. Now the tradition there was when you became a permanent employee, your whole pod essentially went to lunch at this place that was called Prince of Wales Pub in San Mateo, and they were known for their habanero burger, and it was a beef patty that was soaked in a habanero based marinade, and then they diced habanero peppers and put it
Uh,
on top of the burger, and then served it to you just on the bun. No cheese, no veggies, no nothing. That was the burger. Um, Now it became a whole event to see who could eat, because it was never one person. It was always like 2 to 3 or 2 to 5, I guess. And it became a thing like who could get it down the fastest. And I'm happy to report that I did not win that that contest. I was one of those people. I don't think I even finished it. I ate like half of it and was like, yeah, nah, not doing it. You guys all suck. This is the worst. But the guy that won had 2 of them. 2 of them. He was just one of those
how?
guys. He
Who
was one of
just
those guys because,
loves peppers?
yeah, he could just deal with heat. Like, it just wasn't a big deal with him. He's like, oh, it's only habanero? Sweet. And he just ate it. Like, and I was like, dude, I am dying. Like, like you were saying, like, ruined your mouth. It
Yeah.
ruined, like, my week. Like half that burger, and I was just like, F this. This is the worst thing I've ever done in my life. Yeah, that guy just pounded 2 of them like it was nothing. Like, I was like, Jesus, savage. But yeah, I don't really mess with anything past like a serrano pepper. Like that's about where I tap out. I can do jalapenos, serranos. I can get down with some Anaheim chilies and stuff like that. But nah, when you start talking Scotch bonnets and fucking ghost peppers and shit, I'm out.
Dude, well, that's like with like curry and stuff. Like my friend Matt, like super hot, like where you're like sweating bullets curry, and I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, I'm like, for me, it's like heat wise, I'm like, if it's like so hot that I'm like, it affects me eating it, I'm like, that's not fun to me.
yeah,
I want to enjoy like sweating bullets and feeling miserable after eating it. Doesn't sound like a fun time to me.
yeah. I'm I don't understand the wiring where it's like I want the food to hurt me. It's like, wait, no, I'm good. We're good with that. So I don't know. People are weird, man. People are strange.
Oh man, you know what I picked up today too?
Mm,
Uh, as like a little here, I'm gonna pull up a picture of it real quick, but I picked it up as a little like early birthday present thing for myself, and I got uh Magic the Gathering has a little special edition set right now that went on sale today. It's on sale today
okay.
and tomorrow. It's called Secret Lair, and it's 5 lands. It's like one of each of the basic lands, but the
Hmm.
art, it's like Godzilla art, and so
Oh, that's
they're
sweet.
they're like Japanese basic lands, but it has like full art
Oh,
lands, but like with Godzilla art, and it comes in like a special box. It comes in like this like special box and stuff.
oh, that's sweet. That's cool as
Then
hell.
yeah, so I was like, boy, I was like, I love Godzilla and I love Magic, and I was like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
my ass. I was like, I want to get that and get them like all sleeved up and like framed and stuff to like hang on the wall.
That's crazy. That's like they brought Godzilla into Magic. Like that's kind of nuts.
Dude, yeah, in this new set that's coming out, some of the cards, like they're doing that for the lands, but then there's special promo cards where it's like alternate art on the card, and like one of them like legit has Godzilla on it, and then like a couple others have other Godzilla monsters on the
Oh
art
yeah.
instead and stuff. But
I
it's
want to
like a
see. I want to see like Force of Nature versus fucking Mothra and shit. Like, let's do this. I mean,
Yeah, dude. I'm like, let me see if I can find the picture, because yeah, I'm like, dude, I want those promo Godzilla cards.
yeah,
Let's see, Godzilla. Oh yeah, like see, here's one of. Yeah, open up.
yeah.
Like, here's one of them. Yeah, Godzilla King of Monsters,
Nice, nice. Love
but it's
it.
like a legit Magic card.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's crazy. Like I said on that Pixel Life, man. If the day Arena shows up on like consoles or phones, it's going to be a hard world for me. I don't know how I'm going to cope.
I know. I'm just waiting for it. I was like, I
I,
want.
I'm genuinely shocked it hasn't happened. Like it seems like if there was a game made for mobile or just like Switch or something, it's Arena. It's like I don't understand how that doesn't exist yet. And
Like, I'm sure they're working on it. I'm like wondering if just for, I don't know, I guess like all of like I know it took forever to make, just because you think of like all the different possible
sure,
interactions with
sure.
Magic cards and stuff to get all the cards and everything to like legitimately work properly and stuff in the game.
Because I mean, like I'm coming from it as a person that bought like unlimited packs because they were in the stores. You know, like
Right.
I had moxes and shit like legitimately because I got them out of packs. You know, like and it's um and then I tapped out of it like that tapped out somewhere around like Fallen Empire, but then like Visions pulled me back in and I was in it again all the way through like Tempest and all that. And I have not picked up a set though since like Weatherlight. So it's
Oh
been and it's because I am a horrible addict and I know it. And it's one of those things like if I started to buy them again, like the deal I made with my wife was if I was ever going to start playing Magic again, I would get rid of the like 10,000 cards I have first. Like cuz it's one of those things like at some point half those cards aren't even like legal anymore anyway
yeah.
to build decks with. So it's like I just need to offload them all to a collector for like a couple grand and start over. You know, like 'cause I think that's actually like how I'd be happy. Because the whole time, otherwise, I'd just be sitting there being like, I have all these cards that I just can't even use anymore, and be like annoyed about it, if that makes sense. But if those cards were gone, I think I'd be okay.
You're like, just unload them all someplace for store credit and then
Yeah,
reinvest the store credit into buying more cards.
like here's a 20-gallon tub of cards. Just take them and give me like 10 boxes over the next 2 years. You know, like just do that.
Well, that's like I had this one fetch land, like polluted Delta or whatever, and like when I was playing Magic and stuff, I like traded it in and stuff for like I think I got like 30 or something like that of like store credit for it and stuff to. All right, yeah, I guess that's about what it's worth. I guess it's worth. I thought it was worth more. Now I was thinking it was worth like maybe like $50 or something now. But it's like one of the things where I kind of regret not having it now. But it's one of those where it's like I only had one, and it's like I would want 4 copies of it, and at the time I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna spend $75 like buying 3 more copies.
Oh, like when I think back to the stuff I had that I did sell piecemeal over the years, because like as a poor 20-something-year-old, it was like, okay, I'll sell this Mox for like $150 just because like I had a full Power 9 set. Like I had all that shit, like, and it was just one of those like, yeah, $100 here, $150 there. I need to pay a bill, so okay, I'll sell this Black Lotus for $300, like shit like that. And it's like, I think back now, it's like all this shit's worth thousands. But it's like I had all of it, and it's just piece by piece, it all just went away.
Yeah, like I was like Mint 10 Black Lotuses are like worth like $20,000.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'm not saying they were that, but they were probably at least a $2,000 card at this point. Like it's I mean, the one thing I still have like an Alpha Birds of Paradise.
Oh, dude, I was like, that's worth some change. I mean, even if it's even beat to shit though, that's worth.
It's been sleeved up since I got it, so it's not beat to shit. And I've got an unlimited Berserk. I still have an unlimited Pearl Mox. I still have that. Like I still have some bangers, but like when I think about what I had, it's like, oh man, kills me.
Dude, I was like on TC. So wait, I'm gonna let me see if you. I'm gonna try and cover that. Is this the Birds of Paradise that you have?
Yeah, with the square corners. Yeah. Well, no, that's a beta. I have the alpha. The alpha has the square corners. The beta has the
yeah, this one has rounded corners.
Yeah.
Because this says on TCG Player for Birds of Paradise Alpha Edition, they have a lightly played one, $2,700.
Sweet, love it. I've got it sitting in my garage right now.
You're like, well, kids, your college fund is in a box in the garage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's a since we're going down this rabbit hole, what's an unlimited Pearl Mox worth?
Let's see. Unlimited Pearl Mox. Let's see. Unlimited Pearl. If I could spell Pearl right, then probably.
I checked a while ago, and it was near 4 figures, but that was years ago, so I don't really know.
Looks like for unlimited, it looks like it's 1,500.
Sweet, nice.
For used, yeah. Mox Sapphire Unlimited is 2,200.
Oh, great! I got the cheap one. Fuck this.
Hey, I was like, that looks like Mox Jet Unlimited is 1,800.
So, do you know the card, the Jizam Jin? It's a black card from Arabian Nights. It was it's a 5, or it's two black, 2 other for a 5/5, but it has to attack every turn or it deals 5 damage to you every turn, right? And the best, it was like the most lethal combo way back when was you did Swamp, Mox, Dark Ritual, Jizam Jin, turn 1. It was just like boom, 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 5/5, turn 1. Let's go. And it was like the biggest FU move to start a game with, like it was just one of those things that anytime you saw it, you were just like, fuck this. Like, I hate this game. Why do I even play?
Dude, that's like, I built this zombie deck, which it was like, it had a lot of older cards, so it was like modern legal, but it had a couple cards, like it had Dark Ritual in it, which is not modern legal anymore. That's like legacy now. But It had Dark Ritual, which is you pay 1 and you get 3 swamp for your mana pool.
Yeah.
But then I also had what was it? It was Culling the Weak, which was 1 black and it's sacrifice a creature and you get 4
Right, yeah.
black. And I had like Grave Crawlers and stuff, which were is 1 black, 2/1, and it's like as long as you control another zombie, you can like cast it out of your graveyard and stuff.
Okay.
And then it also had the only zombie that wasn't in the deck was Cryptghast, which cost 4, which it was black or whatever, but its ability was anytime you tapped a swamp for mana, it created another swamp in your mana pool. So it's like it'd be so easy to be like, I'd be like, turn 1, I'm like, swamp, tap, Gravecrawler, and then it's like turn 2, it's like tap swamp, Culling the Weak, sat Gravecrawler, it's like Cryptghast, play swamp, tap, create 2. I'm like play new Gravecrawler, summon second Gravecrawler from graveyard, and then it had a Army of the Damned, which was 3 black and then 5 whatever, which created 13 2/2 tap zombies.
Oh,
and then
Jesus.
you could cast it from your graveyard a second time for like, I don't remember, I think it was like 12 mana or something, like 10 mana, 12 mana, whatever. So there were times where it's like if I could just chain together Culling the Weeks and Ritual and with like 1 or 2 Cryptghast on the field, I could like play an Army of the Damned and then play it again from exile all in the same turn and get like 26
okay.
zombies.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have 24 2/2s coming at you. Have fun blocking that shit. Like,
but then my friend plays like, he's like, okay, well, he'd be playing an Eldrazi deck, and he's like, all right, well, Ulamog, the fucking ceaseless is like fucking 15/15. When it attacks, it has like annihilate 5 or whatever, so it destroys like 5 things on my side of the board, and then mills like the top 20 in my deck, and I'm like, well, it just blows up all my lands and shit. And I'm like, good game, guys.
You're like, well, that was fun. Jesus. Now the craziest combo I remember, it was the deck like people got to where like they wouldn't play it anymore because they hated it, because it was totally one of those like decks that worked on like technicalities. It was a Circle of Protection deck, and so the whole thing, so it had the Urza's lands, right? So if you have a set of them, it was Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, and Urza's something else, I forget. But like,
yeah, it's called the Tron lands, where when you have all 3, and then Urza's Mine, the whatever tower, and power plant, and then
Urza's power plant.
As long as you have it, like it taps, like you can tap all 3 for like fucking like 9 mana or something.
Like, it's
on,
something
turn
like that.
2, like.
So, and then there was a card from Antiquities called the Candelabra of Tanos. Now, the thing about the card, what was interesting is, so it's pay X and tap it to tap or untap X objects, or X cards, basically. I forget the actual wording, but it's something like that. And so, and then there was a card in Revised, I believe it's been removed a long time ago, but it was called Power Surge. And it's a red card, two red, and it's an enchantment. And for every untapped permanent, at the beginning, and it's for the whole board, but for every untapped permanent the player has, they take 1 point of damage. Right? So what I would do is I would end my turn and tap all my land at that point when I say turn's over, and tap all my land, use the Candle of Abra to untap everything I could on the players on the other player side. Oh no, it wasn't permanent, it was lands. Sorry. So I would untap all their land and say, but that move, because of the technicality of the stack of the order of the turn, would happen before their untap phase. So the Power Surge would kick in, and it would untap, everything would untap before their untap phase, and so they took 1 point of damage for every land they had every time, basically, is how it would work. and then I would COP red myself, and it would all be good. and it was one of those things where people were just like, I hate this fucking deck. Like, it's the worst thing. Like, it's just, I'm like, put a fucking disenchant in your deck. Break the candelabra. Get rid of that. My whole deck falls apart. Like, I don't know. Like, Jesus, why is it my problem?
Dude, that's like in that zombie deck I had too. I had zombies with Swamp Walk, and I had what was it? It's like contaminated courtyard, and I don't remember what the other one is. Where it's like contaminated courtyard is like a black and whatever else, and it's like enchant target land. It's treated as a swamp, loses all other properties, and if it's tapped for land, that player loses 2 life. And so it's like, if I had like a starting, sometimes I'd get a starting hand with like 2 of those, and then the other one was just cost 1 black, but it didn't have the lose 2 life, but it just turned a land into a swamp or whatever. Yeah. But there was times where I had like, 2 or 3 of those in my opening hand, so it's like turn 1, I'm like, that's a swamp, and then turn 2, it's like, yeah, that other land, that's a swamp, and sometimes it's like, it would just fuck someone over. I'm like, dude, like, his, like, kept the starting hand of, like, 3 lands. Now they're all swamps, and it's like, you can't cast anything. And it's like, cool, even if I could, I'd be paying, like, 4 life to try and, like, cast something. And then while they're doing that, I'm like, here's a zombie. Here's some zombies. I'm gonna swing in.
God damn it. Magic's fun. I miss playing Magic. We should do this again, and next time let's dive deeper on some Magic stuff. I could talk that for hours. So.
Dude, I'm down on that.
Okay. All right, sweet, dude.
All right. So before we go, do you have anything for any last parting messages for the listeners?
No, we'll talk about it more on that Pixel Life, but everyone should watch the trailer for Scorn, and how those people have not gotten the shit suit out of them by H.R. Giger's estate, I will never know. Like, they must have paid someone a bunch of money, because holy shit, they just stole all his designs. It was impressive as hell.
I need to watch the trailer. I saw you post about it earlier, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's something. It's something. Like, it's oof. It's one of those, like, this made a corporate event, huh? All right, let's go. It's everyone should watch that trailer.
Like, maybe with everything going on, no one will notice.
Yeah, totally.
There's worse stuff happening right now.
It's like, oh, this is normal, I think. Sure. That's all I got, though.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up another great episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Zach, for coming on. I know you've been busy with work, and I've been busy with work, but I love having you on. Missed your face.
It's funny. It's always a fun time to talk. It's good times. I love it.
All right, yeah. And, thank you, everyone, for listening. And, this will, check out, I know, new episode of That Pixel Life came out earlier this week. So, give it a listen. Your boy's on there now. Zach's on there. Shannon, who's come on here a couple times, is on there. And we all get together. And Robbie sometimes comes on if his internet's working. So
Yep. And it's a good place to hang out and hear some video game news and reviews and whatnot. And we get at it, so it's good times.
Yeah. So sayonara, mi amigos.